Laura here. I'm back to start a new reading vlog. It is the day before Christmas Eve, and because Christmas and the holidays is going to look a little bit different this year, I decided to do a 24-hour or 48-hour, I guess, reading vlog for you guys where I tackle some Christmassy reads, but also just some reads I've been wanting to read. I was in the middle of reading another book, but I just want something fast and quick while I'm on break for the next couple of days. So I decided to pick my own prompts just because I'm not really doing this with anybody. But my first prompt was to read a book that had red on the cover. So I decided to pick up Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. This is the sequel to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. It's not actually out yet, this book, but it comes out in 2021, but I got my copy from the UK. So this is actually a 2021 release, but red on the cover was one that I chose for the prompt. Another prompt I decided was to read a holiday read, and I decided to pick up Mind the Gap, Dash and Lily. This is the third book in the Dash and Lily series, and this one is set in London. And for those that don't know, I have a deep love of London. It's one of my favorite cities. I went there a couple of years ago, and I'm desperate to go back. So I decided to make this my holiday read. And then my next read was to pick a book that you have been wanting to read for a while, and that is Recommended for You by Laura Silverman. This is another holiday-themed romance, but I've had this on my TBR since early September and kept putting it off once I found out it was a holiday read, but it seems like a perfect time to read it. So this one's also going to be on my TBR. And the last book on this TBR was to read a green book, so I wound up picking up Girl in the Witch's Garden, which is a retelling of The Secret Garden. I'm also going to be watching a bunch of Christmas movies tomorrow and the next couple of days, but tonight I'm going to try to catch up on my Netflix queue. So the book I think I'm going to start with is Mind the Gap, Dash and Lily. It is not even 300 pages, so it's a very, very short read, as all their books are, and I just this holiday season went up watching the TV show Dash and Lily's Book of Dares on Netflix. I really liked it, so I'm excited to dive into the next adventure, and I will definitely keep you guys updated as I am going through my Netflix queue, but I'm going to read about 20 pages, and then I will update you guys. Bye. It's Laura here. I'm back. It is about 7:05. I did wind up reading about 30 pages in Mind the Gap, Dash and Lily. They literally just got to England, so I've only read one chapter from each point of view. But basically, it is set after high school. So Dash wound up going to college in Oxford in London, and Lily wound up staying in New York, and she kind of took a gap year. And she kind of, if you've read the past couple of books, Lily's obsessed with dogs. So she wound up starting like this dog walking business in New York, and it actually took off, and she has a lot of clients, and she is a very, very popular like Instagram person. But when Dash calls her and tells her that he is going to stay in London for Christmas, Lily's a Christmas fanatic, like loves Christmas. Lily decided to take it upon herself and go to England and set up a scavenger hunt for her, and that's how they first met in the first book, where they did a scavenger hunt at the Strand. And I guess something goes wrong, and Dash doesn't get there in time. So, but they're also both holding some secrets. Like Lily, might change her plans for next year. Dash is not loving London. But yeah, I just read the first two chapters. It's a very, very quick read. I really do like these characters a lot. I think that they're super fun. And I love London as a setting, so I'm so excited to read a little bit more. I'm going to go take a little bit of a snack break, get some cookies. My grandma baked today. She's the best baker. I've never mentioned that in a video. She's very, very good. So I'm going to have some cookies, and I will read about 30 more, or maybe like a couple more chapters of Mind the Gap, and I will report back. That the book takes place in a bookstore, and I actually, when I was in London a while ago, I went to a lot of bookstores. This one doesn't sound familiar, but I'm curious what the scavenger hunt will look like, because Lily didn't actually create the scavenger hunt. It's someone else that creates the scavenger hunt, and that just sounds cool, having a bookish scavenger hunt. I want to do that. I want someone to make that for me, but it's just a fun read, and I am going to keep reading. So I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Right here, just checking back in. I'm getting to page 60 in Mind the Gap, Dash and Lily. So here's the thing. I really liked book one because it was kind of the building up of a relationship. But the problem sometimes that happens when you have an established couple and you give them more books is you have to break apart that couple and like put them back together. And it's hard sometimes because you like this couple so much and you don't want to see them like dealing with hard things because you want them to be happy. These books are always set around Christmas time, so it's always like, oh my god, you just want like a happy romance. But you also realize like there needs to be some conflict in a book. But in the 12 Days of Dash and Lily, it was really Lily that was dealing with a lot of things. She had a lot of stuff going on with her grandpa, and she was really struggling to find the spirit of Christmas. But you have a lot going on with Dash in this book, like just a lot of stuff happening with him, and you have they're both their point of views, which I always love because I think it really expands the character. I'm loving being in London. I've never been to any of these places so far, but it's fun. But it's also hard because they're dealing with a lot. But again, they're also like getting older, and there's a lot of stuff happening. Um, but whenever I read this book, I'm always thinking of the actors in the role in the TV show, which is fine. But yeah, I'm liking it. I'm just ultimately I want these characters to have a happy ending. So I realize it's gonna take me a while to get there, and like every good movie, like there's always a boiling point, and when you get to the boiling point, I'm gonna get really upset. But other than that, I am liking it. But it's just that like that's why sometimes I like companion books that follow different characters because you do get to see your favorite characters in their happy moments, but when they are the main characters, there has to be some drama. So, but I will say that this book definitely focuses more on Dash's issues at the start of this book, while the 12 Days definitely focus more on Lily's issues. So I like that they're a little bit more balanced. But they also have unique representation for Dash in this book, and I definitely saw it in like the other subsequent books. So I like that that's developing. I'll kind of spoil it when I'm done reading it. What like my thoughts are about on the representation, and stuff pops up that I think is very very realistic. So I'm gonna go back to reading and try to read about 50 more pages, and then I'll update you guys again. Bye. Right here, just checking back in. I did want to getting up to page 83 and Mind the Gap, Dash and Lily. This is definitely more of a self-discovery novel for both characters. Um, they're really in their own heads. I'll say like Lily's really in one spot, Dash is in one. They're definitely diving into Dash's experience with anxiety and depression that really wasn't touched on in book one or in book two that I remember. It's been a while since I read the 12 Days of Dash and Lily, but it definitely wasn't really broached in the TV show, which was the source book for the TV show was book one. But I'm liking it. It's very interesting because you're seeing them in like a very different situation. You're seeing them in a different town in London. So I'm gonna keep reading. I'm probably gonna read like two more chapters so I can at least get up to page 18. I mean 100. And then I'm probably gonna go watch some TV. Because yeah, but this is probably gonna do. But I'll probably read at least two more chapters of this, and then I'll probably check in with you guys one more time. This is not that long of a book, but it's intriguing. They're it's very interesting because like they're in the same city, but they really haven't spent a whole lot of time together. Dash is very much in his own head, and Lily's very much in her own head. So they're very individual right now, and I wonder if that's going to be like the whole book. Like they're kind of individual. They're also finding new people to talk to. Lily's finding people to talk to due to her fame, I'll say. She's finding some friends. And Dash is kind of coming across people to talk to her about it. So it's interesting. Like I'm very much intriguing, but definitely it's not the coupley exciting book that like or the Christmassy fun romance that All I Want for Christmas Was by Wendy Laga that I read um earlier this month because that was very much like a pure fun, some like wintry contemporary that was very, very Christmassy braced. This one sets around Christmas and there are Christmassy elements, but it's definitely more of a more heartfelt read. But again, that's more just because it's the third book in a series following two characters that are dealing with harder issues. So definitely a harder read, but I'm still enjoying it. So I'm gonna go read about a couple more chapters, and when I get to page 100, I'll update you guys. Bye. Sorry, here I'm back. Sorry, I'm about to go to yoga, so I look a little bit disheveled. But I didn't wake up. I didn't want up reading a lot last night. I also really need to stop watching YouTube videos I've seen like 1,000 times. That's my goal today. I have a million YouTube videos I have to watch. but I don't want to watch them, and that's the problem. Like, I watch stuff I've seen, like interviews with people I've seen like a million times, and it's so problematic. So I am going to. Sorry, my voice sounds a little bit off. Of course, I just woke up. Also, I talk all day for my job, so my voice gets a little bit weak sounding sometimes. But I did wind up getting up to page 82 in Mind the Gap, Dash and Lily. I did say this before in a previous clip. It's definitely a harder hitting book, more like the 12 Days of Dash and Lily, but deals with a lot more issues that Dash is dealing with than Lily. Still really liking it though, and I'm probably going to tackle a majority of this book today. So I'm going to go get ready for yoga, and I'll talk to you guys when yoga's over. Bye. Guys, Lori here. I'm still reading because I neglected the time, and it's actually at 9:45 that my yoga class starts. And I'm also doing it at my house instead of going in person because I didn't wake up early enough to do that. So, but I did want to getting up to page 100 in Mind the Gap, Dash and Lily, which was actually my goal for last night. So I actually made it pretty early. But this book is really interesting because they're in such different places in their lives. Lily is in one place physically and emotionally, and Dash is in another spot physically and emotionally. And I don't think it's going to be the happy ever after story that I was hoping for, but I'm hopeful that by the end they'll at least kind of get into that spot. But they're in two very different spots. And Dash is really dealing with a ton of anxiety and depression in this book. And it hasn't, like, and the New York one is very, very clearly New York. This one has elements of being in England, but I'm only like 100 pages in, so I'm sure some of the environments and settings will become a little bit more familiar. I hope. Again, it's been a while since I've been in England. Like, was in England in 2009, like a long time ago, but I still really am liking it. It's definitely a more hard-hitting contemporary than the first one, more like the second one, but this one definitely focuses on Dash's issues. But Lily also has a lot of issues, and she's kind of dealing with the drama that everyone deals with. You know, growing up, like going to school for what you want to do or going to school what your parents want you to do. And that's always a battle that's never fun. I was in that battle. Everyone's always in that battle, so it's never ever fun. But I still really am enjoying it. So I'm going to go to yoga, and then if it still remains nice out, I think I'm going to go for a bike ride. I love bike riding. I love outside bike riding specifically. I don't know what it is. I just like it better than indoor bike riding. So I'm going to like get a little bit warmed up, and I'm going to like go for a bike ride. And I'm also listening to my audiobook of The Lost Book of the Wife by Cassie Clare and Wesley Chu. That is going to be my last audiobook of the year that I listen to, so I'm trying to get that up to date a little bit because I have quite a few podcasts that I fell behind on, like a lot of them. So I'm trying my hardest to catch up on the book, so like for the last week I can just sort of listen to my podcast so I could start 2021 fresh. I didn't really watch anything last night. I started watching an episode of Nailed It, and then I went down my dangerous YouTube hole, which I'm going to try to stop doing because I just watch like videos I've seen like 1,000 times, and it's such a time suck. So I'm trying to avoid doing that for the rest of 2020, just because I have literally 200 videos to watch. So I'm really gonna spend the day reading. We're not doing anything for Christmas. I think I've said that clearly, but I live with my bubble. I live with my mom, my dad, my grandma, my uncle, and we have a very, very small bubble. We're gonna make Christmas cookies and, you know, small stuff. So I'm really happy about that. Yeah, so I'm gonna go get ready for yoga, and when I come back from yoga and my bike ride, I'll probably update you guys on my reading for both Mind the Gap and also my audiobook. So talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. It's Laura here, just checking back in. Sorry, my lights keep going in and out. But I did wind up going for a bike ride. I listened to a couple chapters of The Lost Book of the Wife by Cassie Clare. I really like that book. That book is probably one of my favorite Shadowhunter books outside like the main trilogy that I've read. I have missed my Shadowhunter gang, which is Simon, Izzy, Jace, Clary, since the end of Heavenly Fire, which has been so long. You've seen them in like other books. They've all had cameos in the Dark Artifices series, but since Simon's book, which was the Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy, I haven't seen them all working together, and I really missed that. So this book follows the gang as they're trying to protect Magnus, and now they're in a different city, and it's just super fun. And they're trying to figure out why portals aren't working is the main mystery, but then there's a couple of sub-mysteries that deal with Magnus, which was It's a very, very good book. I went up listening to that for like 2 chapters of that. I'm still in the middle of listening to it. I'm probably going to listen to it a little bit more if I decide to work out later. I did go for my bike ride, which it's been a while. We are now in the middle of snow season here on Long Island, so when it snows, it makes my bike riding a little bit challenging because people don't always shovel the way that they should. So yeah. But before I left, I wound up getting up to page 100 in Mind the Gap, and now I'm going to go read about 50 more pages, and then I will give you guys another quick update. Yeah, but I am really liking this book, so I'm going to go watch I'm going to tell you guys a count right now. I have, because I'm going to keep myself accountable, I have 155 YouTube videos to watch. So I'm going to make that my mission to at least get it down at least by 50 videos. That's my goal, but I will update you guys as I keep reading, and I'm going to make some progress on Mind the Gap. Right now I'm listening to one of my mommy bloggers who I like to, I mean, it's just like home decor and stuff, but it's nice background noise. So I'm going to go watch that and read Mind the Gap, and I'll update you guys when I can. Bye. Here, just checking back in. I want to do a small update. I did want to deleting a few from my Netflix queue, so now I only have to watch 150 videos, which is not that bad, or 149. But I did want to making a little bit more progress on the Mind the Gap Dash and Lily, which means I have about, I'm on page like 160, and this book is over at like 238. So I actually am like pretty much halfway done. I definitely am liking it. It's definitely sometimes hard to read a book where your couple is like dealing with a lot of drama. But I do like the London setting. I do like that you're kind of expanding their social circles a little bit, both Dash and Lily. Like they're not really like interacting a whole lot in this book. They're really very much on their own, which is like an interesting way to do like a contemporary book. And it sort of started with one premise that there was going to be a scavenger hunt, which I thought was going to be very reminiscent of the first book, but then that kind of got derailed a little bit. So I'm intrigued enough. Like, I want to know what happens at the end, but it's definitely focusing a lot on their self-discovery journeys and less on, like, being a romantic comedy, like All I Want for Christmas. I'm going to keep referencing that because that was really what Dash and Lily's Book of Dares was, more of like a funny romantic comedy. This one definitely deals with a lot of harder issues, but I'm really liking it. I'm going to probably read like around like 50 more pages, and then I'm going to update you. I think I'm going to finish this, and then I'm going to take like a little bit of a mental break and kind of work out, because I did go to yoga this morning. I did go for a bike ride, but we're not really doing anything today, so I think I'll probably do like another one of my workouts. But yeah, so I'm gonna and probably play a little bit of Animal Crossing. Will probably be a little bit of a break. So I'm gonna go read a little bit more of this, and I'll update you guys when I read about 50 more pages. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Right here, just checking back in. I did wind up getting up to page 202 and Mind the Gap, Dash and Lily. I have about, according to this copy, I have about 50 pages left. So I'm definitely gonna quickly tackle the end of this. Definitely, they actually started getting into a better spot towards the end, but this is definitely more of a self-discovery book, both for Dash and Lily, and it deals with the topic like what you want to do with the rest of your life, and how, you know, people's impressions and what people want you to do doesn't always fit with your path for yourself and what you wind up loving. And I dealt with that a lot in my life. Like, I wound up having one path, and then it kind of changed, and then it changed drastically. But I just like how these characters, even though they are not always on the same exact page, they're still really involved in each other's lives. I really, really like it. I thought that the London was a great setting. As someone who has been missing traveling so much, it's just so ironic. I started 2020 planning like so many trips. It was the first year that I really felt like I could travel, and I could, you know, I had been this was about to be my third year teaching. I had planned a bunch of trips, and I was hopeful that 2021 would just keep extending that, and then COVID hit, and sort of everything changed. So I'm hopeful that in the next couple of years I can get some of my big traveling done, because I really do want to first go to Universal. That's one of my big trip plans, but I also do want to like go abroad, which is what I've been reading. There's quite a few books on my TBR that I just are all about traveling in different places and different environments. It just sounds cool. But yeah, I'm gonna go. I will also admit, reading this book right now has been such a joy, because I literally just finished watching Dash and Lily on Netflix, and I'm just seeing the actors in my head, especially more so Dash than Lily. But yeah, it's just great. So I'm gonna go tackle the end of this and give you guys my thoughts, and then we will check back in and see what the rest of my plans for the day are. Again, I said we are doing stuff so quiet for New Year's here. Like, I mean, Christmas Eve, very, very quiet. But we do have a lot of food, so I'm gonna go tackle the end of this, and then I'll report back to you guys. Bye. Laurie here. I'm back. I just want to say that I did want to finishing Mind the Gap, Dash and Lily. This is my first book I finished for the readathon. I'm gonna take like an hour off. I'm going to play a little bit of Animal Crossing, watch a couple of my non-bookish videos that I've had on my queue for a while. I'm like literally watching all of my Christmas Vlogmas videos because everyone I know has been doing Vlogmas at the appropriate time, unlike me who does it so late. But I am going to play a little bit of Animal Crossing because the island finally turned Christmassy. And then I'm probably going to decide between my next read, see if I do want to film anything today. But I am done with this, and I will give you my thoughts on this when I choose my next read. So, see you guys in a little bit. Bye. It's Laurie here. I'm back. I did actually wind up taking a little bit of a longer break. I had some dinner. I actually played like the longest version of Animal Crossing I've ever played because it was Toy Day on the island, and it was helping a creature like deliver presents. So that took a little bit while longer, but it's actually super fun. It's super relaxing. I kind of put on a couple of other videos in the background that I hadn't watched. So yeah. I don't think I'm gonna film today. Because a lot of the videos I have left are really close to the end of the year, but I might try to do one of them maybe over the weekend. But I did want to say that I did wind up finishing Mind the Gap, Dash and Lily. I like this one. I would say it's probably my second favorite in the series. I still like the first one a lot better. I really struggled with I wouldn't say I struggled. It definitely wasn't my favorite. This one I did like the setting. I like that it was focused on self-discovery. I like that it had them in a very different relationship. And I like that it focused on you choosing what you wanted and not your family choosing what you wanted. And I thought the romance was really unique. It was also a very, very quick read. So this one I would wind up giving like 3 stars. I liked it. It wasn't my favorite, but it was fun. And I really do like the characters. I would highly recommend, if you haven't checked out the Netflix series, to definitely check that out. And if you haven't watched Dash and Lily's book, or seen or watched or read Dash and Lily's Book of Dares, I would recommend this. But I just wound up reading this one because it was Christmassy. And it was fun. So the next book I think I'm going to pick up is Recommended for You by Laura Silverman. This is a holiday, sort of a holiday themed read. I know I've read some people that have read it that didn't love it. Heather from Bookable said she wasn't the biggest fan. She thought the character was a little bit immature. But, you know, I always like to read it, especially because I bought the book. But I do know that it takes place in a bookstore and it's set in the holidays. Your main character is Jewish, and she winds up getting into a competition with her coworker. And it's really not that long. It's like, I think it's like, oh my god, it's like 260 pages. So it's about the same size as Mind the Gap. So again, I have a ton of YouTube videos that I can be watching. So I'm just going to kind of put this on in the background and I'll update you guys when I get about 50 pages in. I think it's only told from one point of view, which, as I've said in past videos, I tend to prefer books that are told from like both characters' point of views, but maybe I'm wrong. But I will definitely keep you guys updated on this. I also did find another Christmassy read in my friend gave me a gift this year, and one of the books she gave me was Christmassy. So if I can finish this book tonight, we are supposed to play Trouble at some point. My dad bought Trouble. He's very excited about it. But I do hope that maybe I can finish this book tonight, and then tomorrow spend reading that Christmassy themed read. And then spend the rest of the weekend reading my other TBR books that I had. But alas, I'm gonna go start Recommended for You, and I will give you guys my thoughts in a little bit. Bye. Laurie here. It's about 6:21. I did wind up reading about 30 pages or 34 pages in Recommended for You. I have to admit, I'm really liking it. It's definitely, I would say, like a younger version of a YA novel, and I'm sure, like, as the book goes on, I may feel different about the character, but it basically follows this girl named Shoshana. She is a Jewish main character. It is right around the holidays, and she has 2 moms. So that's some LGBTQ representation right off the bat, and then her best friend is an LGBTQ romance. But she works for a bookstore, and they hire a new person who doesn't like to read, and they kind of have a very, very combative relationship. He's like really mean to her. Like, if I was Shoshana in this situation, I would be really angry at this character too. So I can kind of get her frustration. But I can also sense some family drama coming up with her parents. And I know that there is like an element being introduced. It was said in the summary, so I'm sure that's going to pop up sooner rather than later. But I'm finding it super fun. I like a bookstore as a setting. I think it's just a fun place to have it. And she's also a writer. I read a couple of books this year that had writer main characters. I read Today, Tonight, Tomorrow, there was a writer character. Another book had a writer character, and my all-time favorite, The Unexpected Everything, but that's the male. He writes. So she's also a writer too. But yeah, I'm liking it. I'm gonna take a little bit of a mental break, and then I'm just gonna keep reading. And video update number, I am now on. I have 140 videos left, so I am making progress, but it is slow progress. So this is definitely my goal for tonight, is to finish a majority of this. So I'll be back when I read about 50 more pages. Bye, guys. And Lori here, I'm back. Sorry for my light. It is way back there, and I will try to keep my head straight. But I did wind up getting up to page 50 in Recommended for You by Laura Silverman. The competition has become present in the story. I've said this before, there are some tropes in YA contemporaries that I truly love. Competition elements are definitely one, like when you're competing for something. So the competition is that she works at a bookstore, and whoever sells to the most customers before Christmas Eve gets a $250 bonus, and she has a very snarky, very mean, I'll be honest. I really think he's mean to her, Jake. But if she gets this $250, she'll be able to fix her car, Barbara, which is not doing the best emotionally. Like, it's just not a good car. But it's causing a lot of conflict with her two moms, and it's kind of, the undercurrent of this. But I like that it's set in a bookstore a lot. That is like one of my dreams, is to work in a bookstore. I think I'd be a very, very good bookseller. Also think I'd be a good librarian, but booksellers is something I've always wanted to do, and it just never worked out. I also was watching one of my longer YouTube videos with Monica from She Might Be Monica, and she did a whole video on journaling, and I've been thinking, sorry, I just had a cookie. I'm thinking about doing journaling for 2021, and I was an avid scrapbooker, like, for many, many years, and I just stopped scrapbooking because it's very, very time consuming. I don't take a lot of pictures of myself, but I'm thinking of maybe doing some journaling in 2021 to just kind of keep my thoughts. And so that's what I'm going to kind of look into this weekend, is to try to get a journal and some stuff. So something I want to do, but I was just kind of wanting to mention it because maybe I'll do like a video where I kind of talk about that. So I'm going to go back to reading. I read about to page 50, so I'll read about 50 more pages, and then I'll give you guys an update. Bye. Just checking back in. It's about 8:30. I do end up getting up to page 110 and Recommended for You. I really am quite fond of this book. I will be honest. I'm not the biggest fan of the relationship between these two characters, because he's just really mean to her. He just is. He's just mean to her. Like, I would like, and I think that they're having a lot of hard times communicating. She's also making some questionable choices because she feels like her world's falling apart. Like, there's a lot of like underlying things, like with her mom, with her car, and she did something to her best friend that I think she thought was helpful, but might turn out to be a little bit not as helpful. But I just am liking the setting. I'm liking the bookstore. I'm liking the characters. I'm liking the competition. I also think it's talking about like smaller bookstores and why you should support them, and especially in 2020, that's been really important with all the COVID stuff still going on. I also like that it's really set in like a bookish world. And she's a reader. You hear her talking about reading, and I'm just quite fond of it, to be honest with you. I'm gonna read a little bit more. I'm gonna read maybe like, I have like one more video I want to watch, which is Haley and Bookland's video, and then I'm probably gonna put my book down for the night and kind of watch one or two of my non-bookish videos that I've been putting off. I'm still hunting for a planner. I mean, not a planner, a journal that I want to work on for 2021. When I get an idea in my head, I'm kind of like stuck to my idea. So I'm going to try to figure out, maybe I'll try to play around with a planner I already have, journal I already have. But that will be a project for tomorrow. But I'll go read a little bit more. And when I get to like page, like maybe like 150, I'll probably update you guys. Then I'll probably stop reading for the evening. Talk to you guys in a bit. Hey friends, Laura here. I'm back. It's about 9 o'clock. I did wind up getting up to page 222 in recommended for you. This book is real. I feel like I'll say this. Shoshana reminds me a lot of myself when I was in high school. I was an only child, and her parents are obviously going through something. They're being really hard on her about some things, and a lot of her. I mean, the friendship drama I see definitely as being like she definitely went out of line with what she did with her friend, like that thing. But her parents are being very hard on her, and maybe I'm just not seeing her actions as being immature or selfish. Like at work with Jake, I see a little bit of selfishness. Like, but again, she's in high school, so um, I don't see her as being immature. I see her as being inexperienced, kind of finding herself. But her parents are going through a lot, and you can kind of tell how the way that they treat her. But yeah, so I'm definitely gonna want to finishing this tomorrow. But I did get about halfway done. I'm sure some more drama will ensue. I do like the Jewish representation. I read another book this year. It's probably right behind my head, actually. Yeah, Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon that also had Jewish characters. But yeah, this is a really interesting one. I like it. Also, they're also talking a lot about working in a small bookstore and sales and stuff like that, which has been a big thing in recent years and months and stuff like that. So, but I will update you guys tomorrow after I open up my presents. Again, I pretty much know everything I'm getting. But maybe there'll be some prizes underneath the tree, and I'll share those with you guys tomorrow in this vlog. Anything I get. I have a bunch of books I got from my friends that will go in my book haul later in the month, but if there's any like fun fantasy stuff, like I'll show you guys tomorrow. So I'm gonna go watch some home vlogging videos that are just fun, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Happy holidays. It's Laurie here. I'm back. It's Christmas Day. Merry Christmas. I hope you guys are having a good day whenever you guys are watching this. It's probably much later in the year that you guys are seeing this, but today is Christmas Day. I did wind up unwrapping my presents. I got a lot of gift cards, Funko Pops. Yeah, it was quiet though. It was nice. I got some charms from my Pandora bracelet. I have friends that send me gifts, but because the mail stuff, they're still like very, very late and very, very delayed. So when everything comes, I'll do it in one big haul for you guys. Eventually, but it is still pretty early. I am going to try to dive back into recommended for you and see if I can make any more progress on it. I did make a little. Oh, I also watched Claws last night, which was a Netflix movie. I think it's a Netflix movie, but it was like an origin of the Santa myth. I really like that. And then I watched the last couple of episodes of Nailed It. So that's what I did. I am gonna mostly read for today, but I do want to do a little bit of planning for 2021. I do want to do prep for my journaling stuff because I found a journal that I can use, which I'm really excited about. But I'm gonna go back and I'll give you guys a count. I'm now down to 141 videos, so making some progress. But I'm gonna go back to reading recommended for you. I'm on page 122. And I'll see you guys in a little bit. Bye. Laura here, I'm back. I did wind up getting up to page 160 and recommended for you. This is definitely turning into a fun read. I really like the competition element. Also, Jake, as a main character, is growing on me than he is at the start of the book. And I do see... I mean, I'm not struggling with Shoshana so much as a character as other reviewers I've seen. But again, I work with middle school kids, like, pretty much all year. So her behavior just seems realistic to me because I work with teenagers a lot. So her behavior seems realistic. And if you're going through a lot of stuff with your parents, just tends to happen. I think the relationship is just fun. I like the bookstore as an element. I like that there's still a competition element. I like that their relationship has changed. I hope we get some resolution for some of the problems she caused with her friends at the start of the book. I'm sure we will. But I also like that it follows like a Jewish main character because like, again, I said this when I read Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I read that earlier in the year, over the summer, I think. And I really liked that the focus on it. You don't see that a lot. Like, you don't. You see either no religious representation at all or you see Christmas. So I really like that there is some more diversity in this read. And I especially like that it's set around Christmas and you kind of talk about Hanukkah and their family traditions. I also like that it's like a unique family. She has 2 moms. Her mom's relationship isn't perfect. Reminds me of the relationship I saw in the first season of The Fosters. And also when Steph and Lena were having their problems throughout the series of The Fosters. I think it's super realistic and I'm really liking it. So I'm actually going to take a 30-minute break. I'm going to try to work out. I want to try to start catching up on that stuff. And I'm debating if I want to film today or if I don't want to film today or if I want to plan or if I don't want to plan. So I'm going to take like 30 minutes off. We'll go work out. And then I'll come back and I'm going to keep reading Recommended for You. But I'm really liking it. It's quite fun. And I am probably going to try to tackle a majority of my YouTube videos today. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Just doing a quick check-in. I wound up getting up to about page 200 in Recommended for You. One of the plot twists that I was sort of predicting that tends to happen in a lot of books set in bookstores. This twist happens a lot, but I'm intrigued to see how it all plays out. I still am growing to like the characters. I think Jake's growing on me. Shoshana's growing on me. I like how the friendship drama part was solved after she made her mistake. There's still a lot of loose ends in the story, but I'm curious to see how it all shakes out. So I'm gonna read another like 50 pages. Well, actually, I'll probably read maybe like 30 more pages. I'll probably get up to page 230, and then I'll give you guys my thoughts because this book ends really, really quickly. So I'm gonna go give you guys one more update, and then I'm gonna go finish reading. I am in the middle of watching my YouTube queue. I'm now on. I have 133 videos left. Definitely less than what I got. But I have officially moved into Bookmas territory, so a lot of these videos are all about Vlogmas or wrapping up the year. I'm adding some books to my wish list. I got a bunch of gift cards and stuff like that for this year, and I'm definitely gonna do an order from Barnes & Noble at some point next week. Once the rest of my gifts show up. I'm still waiting for a couple of gifts because my friends, the packing, shipping, and stuff like that has been a little bit weird. So I'm going to go read about 30 more pages of Recommended for You, and then I'll give you guys an update. Bye.
It's such a dreary day out, and I just feel like getting warmed up under the covers. I also did get this shirt for Christmas. Yes, it says, I'll try to get a picture of it for you guys. I'll put it on my Instagram. But my mom got it for me, so really happy about that. I also got some charms for my Pandora bracelet. You're not really going to be able to see them, but one is Baby Yoda, and one is R2-D2. So you can't really see them, but maybe I'll take a picture on my Instagram. But I did wind up getting up to page 222 in Recommended for You by Laura Silverman. I really am liking this book. I'm finding it to be super fun. I'm loving the setting. It's definitely more lighthearted and more fun than Mind the Gap was, just because these characters are new. I like the setting of a bookstore. I am sort of curious to see how this book ends. I said that there's a certain plot twist with the bookstore that happens pretty consistently, and I've read some books where I like the ending and some books I don't like the ending, so we will see. But yeah, we have about 30 pages left, so I'm going to go tackle the end of this, and then I'll give you guys my wrap-up thoughts. Talk to you guys in a bit. It's Lori here. It's about 1 o'clock, and I did wind up finishing Recommended for You by Laura Silverman. I would wind up giving this book like 3.5 stars. I really thought it was fun. I thought it was cute. Super fast. It was not even 300 pages. And when you have books that short, I think sometimes you kind of lose the development of a lot.
but I liked it. I liked that there was representation of like a Jewish character. There was actually the two Jewish leads, which was very similar to Today, Tonight, Tomorrow. I liked the bookstore as a setting. I liked that Shoshana's parents were dealing with a lot of drama. They're also like she has two moms, which I see very, very rarely in books. But again, I just really liked it. I thought it was fun. It wasn't my favorite. I thought because it was so short, there was a lot of development for friendship between the two leads in this book. I don't think it got to the romance point for me, which is why I would only give it really like 3 stars. But I would definitely check out her other books, and I thought that this was a really lighthearted, Christmassy holiday read, even though the main characters were Jewish. So I really like this one. I'm giving it 3 stars. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break. I do want to prep for some filming. I might actually film. But the next book I'm gonna pick up is the one that my friend gave me for Christmas, which is The Christmas Stories by Tom Fletcher. And honestly, I don't know what this is about. I honestly have no idea. But I know it's like a Christmassy themed book, and it's like with pictures. It's it doesn't even tell me how it is. It's like almost 400 pages, but the printing is really, really big. So I hope to make a bit of a progress on this, but I do want to do some prep stuff for Bookmas because I still haven't like decided what I still need to film. So I'm gonna like take a couple of minutes and sort of take the videos I still need to film out and kind of see if I could film any today. And then the next time I check in with you guys, I will have started the Christmas Saurus, and I will give you guys a YouTube video update. I only have 128 videos left, so that number is getting smaller, but I am excited to tackle a majority of this book today because it is very, very fun. It's middle grade. I tend to read middle grade super fast. So I'm going to go do some prep stuff for the rest of Bookmas, and I will talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Right here, I can show you guys my shirt now. Yes, it says I really need all these books. So my mom got me that for Christmas today. But I did want to say that I did wind up starting the Christmas Saurus. So now I'm on page like 32. Not a whole lot has happened. But it involves a young boy named William, and his dad is telling him the myth of how the elves come to be and how he gets his presents. And then the book starts with the dinosaurs. I know that sounds like a weird place to start. And one of the eggs got pushed somewhere that was kept safe after the meteors attacked. And now the Christmas elves have found his egg, and I think it's probably going to lead to them having an adventure together. But it's so fun. It's very, very lighthearted. It is a very similar writing style to The Girls Who Saved Christmas that I read earlier in the year. It's very like more talking to the audience because like literally written for kids. But it's so fun. I'm really enjoying it. I have my YouTube videos on in the background. Now I'm watching Reagan's video where she is reviewing The Burning God, which is a series that I've not read yet. But if Reagan tends to like it, I will tend to at least pick it up. I also, on her recommendation, I did pick up the Ship of Magic series on my Kindle. We'll talk a little bit about my adult reading plans in 2021. But I do want to make a little bit more reading. I also really do want to start the Bridgerton series today. But I want to make some substantial progress on this. This reading vlog is already going to be super long. But I would like to make quite a bit more progress. So I will update you guys when I get to about 100 in this, unless I feel like I need to update you guys before. But I like that it's a hardback. It also does have illustrations, which also reminds me of, I read a book like this recently. I can't remember the name of it. The Voyage of Frostheart was kind of like this and had illustrations like this. So I'm going to go back to reading, and I'll update you guys when I can. Bye. It's Lori here. I'm actually going to take a little bit of a reading break. It's about 2:30. I did end up getting up to page 42 in this one. So I'm going to take a little bit of a reading break. I think I might watch like a movie, or I might watch the first episode of the Bridgertons. I'm going to go watch something. Just something to kind of like give my head off of reading, because I've literally been reading all day and I kind of need a little bit of a mental break. So I'm going to go watch something. probably going to be a movie or like a TV show or something. But then I'm probably going to wrap up this reading vlog because it's almost an hour long. And I feel like if I don't start another reading vlog now, this reading vlog is going to be really, really long. So I'm going to go watch what I'm going to watch. I'll come back. We'll check in. And I'll wrap up my reading vlog. I actually was able to accomplish a lot during Christmas, the Christmas reading vlog I did. And I hope to actually finish a majority of this today, but you guys will see that in my next reading vlog. So I'll be back in a little bit. Bye, guys.
It's Lori here. I'm here to wrap up my mini 48-hour reading vlog that I did for the holidays. My next reading vlog is still going to be continuing these prompts, but I did want to wrap up what I was able to finish. So the first book I wound up finishing was Mind the Gap, Dash and Lila by Rachel Kahn and David Levithan. I wound up giving this one 3 stars for review. I would definitely say it's a more hard-hitting story with a little bit more of an emotional punch to it. I liked it better than 12 Days of Dash and Lily, but it definitely dealt with some harder topics, very focused on the self-discovery elements. But I like the setting, I like the characters, and it was just a really, really fun read. I wound up giving this one 3 stars. Then I picked up Recommended for You by Laura Silverman. This is another holiday-themed romance, I would say. So it's at a bookstore. You have this girl named Shoshana, and she winds up meeting a boy named Jake, and they're one of competing in their bookstore to get the most customers so they can get a $250 bonus, and Shoshana needs that to get money for her car. I talked about this. I liked it. It was cute. I liked that it had some solid Jewish representation in it, and I liked the fun setting of a bookstore during the holidays, and there was also a lot of diversity in a bunch of different characters, so I wound up giving this one 3 stars for review. And then I started The Christmasaurus by Tom Fletcher, but I only made it about 44 pages into it, and I'm probably going to reread a couple of these pages tomorrow, but I will talk about that in my next reading vlog. So, hope you guys had a good holiday season. I hope you guys like these Christmassy themes reads, and I will see you guys for my next reading vlog. Bye!